And thank you all for joining us back here in the Debate Club, where we are going to hear the hottest takes about Klingons. Okay, hello, I am your moderator, and I know absolutely nothing about Star Trek. So let's get started. Let's get into it. Even for those who don't consider themselves Trekkies, Klingons are some of the most recognizable characters in the Star Trek universe. They're created by screenwriter Gene L. Coon in 1967 for the original Star Trek series. And these sometimes ally and other times antagonist humanoids are a warrior species who tend to anchor their values and virtues in valor, honor, and adherence to tradition. So recently, these ridge-faced extraterrestrials got an update. And people want to know, is their new look an upgrade? Or should we engage hyperspeed and go back in time a few years? This segment, we are going to introduce two teams on the opposite ends of this intense debate. Let's get into it. One of our teams is Team Canon, which features Jessica and Shay. And they are both going to argue that the Discovery Klingons are not only an unfortunate misnomer within the established Klingon physicality and culture, but that they are also an insult to the history of the Star Trek universe that fans have come to love. And additionally, and true to their name, they will also put forth the atrocity and complete violation of the Discovery's blight on Star Trek's historical canon. They will argue the above until their dying death and in combat with honor to rejoin the true Kalas in Stovo Core. I only understand about 60% of what I just said. In our other team, we have Team Discovery, which features Kwapi and Jesse. And they will not only argue that the Discovery Klingons are a great redesign and representation of the species and its culture, but they're going to go as far to say that they are the best representation of the species so far. I am truly fascinated about how this is going to go down. So let's talk about our debate format, shall we? The debate is going to consist of three rounds. Each of the first two rounds will feature two people from both teams. And each person is going to get 3 whole minutes to present their team's argument. Round 3 will be a rapid fire rebuttal round where each person is going to get just 45 seconds to sort of wrap up their arguments. And then at the end of the rebuttals, we will have our closing statements. And after that, you are going to have to decide who the winner is via a little poll. So let's just let this debate begin. Before we start, though, can we get a little excitement for everyone doing the debate tonight? Let's do it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes. All right. Well, let's get started. We're going to start off with Kwapi. You're going to get started for us. Kwapi, are you feeling ready to rumble?
Always ready to crush.
All right. Well, your time, my friend, starts now, and I will give you a little buzz when your time is up. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Go for it.
See, to varying degrees, nearly every Star Trek series has brought with it a tweak to the Klingon lore, look, and canon. But what Discovery gave us was the most drastic and, dare I say, the most needed reimagining. Now, let me explain. Although Star Trek has always been a powerful medium of social commentary and progressive world building, some attempts have not always hit the mark or aged well. In other words, problematic. To illustrate this point, let's start from the beginning. As you stated, Gene L. Coon, who was a producer on the original series, created the Klingons and introduced us to them in the episode Errand of Mercy, Season 1. Originally meant to be social commentary on the Cold War, the Klingon look and culture was based on Soviet Russia, Communist China, Vietnam, and North Korea. As a result of this, the original series Klingons leaned heavily into the stereotypes of the times. They were portrayed as devious and brutish and violent, and worse, as you can see in the top left corner, were played by white characters in brown face and mustaches that were meant to look Eastern. Now, fast forward to the later series, like The Next Generation and our favorite Klingon, Lieutenant Worf. The Klingons had shared some of the racist Cold War tropes, had been retconned and now believed in honor and valor. But they were still depicted as brutes and drunks that would fit in quite comfortably with Jack Sparrow's Flying Dutchman as they do on their own Klingon bird of prey. More, even with TNG, Voyager, and and Enterprise Klingon, there was still very little cultural distinction amongst them, which is odd for a species populating over 15 different planets. As you can see in the bottom left, their attire was not even distinctive enough to tell different factions and houses apart. But along comes Discovery. Bigger budgets, along with better prosthetics, makeup, and storytelling, allowed creators and producers to not only move away from the low-budget makeup and wardrobe, but more importantly, distance the franchise from the species' original problematic look and characteristics while adding more texture dimension to the storied species. Neville Page, who was brought on to do the redesign, said, "One aspect of the redesign was to make them appear less brutish and more conscious." He went on to also say, "The Empire is very big. They do not all grow up on Kronos. They do not all live on the same planets, and certainly those different planets have different environments. So how would the cultures have evolved differently? We tried to come up with cultural axioms for each house so that each looks different and they bear a cultural patina like our cultures do here on Earth." See, they moved away from the human characteristics and made them look more alien. They gave them more defined ridges, moved away from human skin tones, and gave a varied color palette. Shoot, look at the top right image, and you realize some Klingons were even purple. And as you can tell from both the top right and bottom, they gave more captivating wardrobe that illustrated and highlighted their intercultural distinctiveness. Their presence radiates honor, valor, warriors, and conquerors. It goes without saying, this physical redesign was a great compliment to Discovery's better storytelling.
Time is done. Kwabi, time is all done. I'm so sorry. Amazing job. That was such a great start to our debate. Thank you so much, Kwabi. All right, we have another presenter from the other team, our dearest, loveliest Jessica is going to be arguing against this discussion. And I am so excited to hear what Jessica has to say for us tonight. Jessica, how are you feeling?
Ready to crush it, Eucalyptic.
Okay, well, I'm ready to hear you crush it. Your timer is going to start in about 3 seconds, and then we are going to go for it. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, your timer starts now.
First of all, those are not Klingons. These are Klingons. Klingons are a warrior race who adhere to a strict code of honor. By the time Discovery aired, Klingons had appeared more than any species other than humans. Discovery insulted that history with their absurd redesign. As Kwapi noted, part of the rationale for the redesign was budgetary freedom. Discovery does have a massive budget and a drastically higher production value than previous series, but that's an oversimplified justification. Star Trek: The Motion Picture had a budget of $44 million compared to about $185,000 for an original series episode. That's a massive increase, but their Klingons were a refinement rather than a complete redesign, more like Odo's evolving makeup in Deep Space Nine. One of the biggest and most tragic issues with the Discovery Klingons is that rather than expanding the series and the show, it actually alienates the existing fans. We didn't ask for a redesign. They could have expanded the Trek world by focusing instead on a less seen and less established species, but this was not about expanding or enhancing. It's about showing off what money can buy. These so-called Klingons not only look like a different species, but they act like one too. They move differently, react differently, carry themselves differently. The original Klingons exude a raw warrior physicality. They are loud, crude, and always ready for battle. You should hesitate to invite Klingons to dinner because they'll get drunk and use your couch for bat'leth training. I don't want to invite Discovery's Klingons because they'll just stand in place and recite long, boring speeches. I use their on-screen appearances as a chance to refill my blood wine. And Discovery can't even stick to its own redesign. The Klingons changed dramatically between seasons 1 and 2, but those changes have not been fueled by some intricate long game plot device, but rather by the pure fan outrage at the redesign. When asked about the negative fan reaction, Alex Kurtzman himself said that when you're trying to keep track of the points that are meaningful and significant to people, some things are going to fall through the cracks. Fall through the cracks? An entire species with over 300 hours of screen time is a detail that just fell through the cracks? Trek fans are as fierce as Klingons in their love of this show, and there is no honor in violating the established history and design of the Klingons. Like so much in Discovery, they choose to ignore the accumulated visual and cultural history of Star Trek itself, all in the name of because we could. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that doesn't even begin to get into the ways that the redesign totally violates the established canon of the series, but I don't have time to get into that.
Okay, that was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much about Klingons. I love this. This is such an educational night. I do just want to say, we know that there's a little bit of a delay here. Believe it or not, not even in 2021 can our level of intelligence be translated through the interwebs at a reasonable speed. So we're doing our best over here, but there might be a little bit of a delay. So thank you everyone for being patient with all that. We have a stunning round 2 to kick off right now. Our very own Jesse is going to go first. Jesse, how are you feeling? Are you feeling ready to rumble?
Oh, I am always ready.
I love it. All right. Well, Jesse, let's get started. I will start your timer whenever you give me a thumbs up, and then we'll go for it.
Yes, I'm also producing here, so I'm getting everything done.
Jesse and I are literally across the room.
Hi.
All right, Jesse, go for it whenever you're ready.
And good. Jessica said fans didn't ask for a redesign. Indeed, fans didn't ask for a redesign of the Klingons in Star Trek Discovery, yet we got it anyways. And I think that's a good thing, because when fans aren't, what fans want isn't always what's best for Star Trek. If fans always got what they wanted in Star Trek, we wouldn't have any Star Trek beyond the original series. One Trekkie even said, quote, "It's sad to see this rip-off series going on the air, particularly for us fans who have been there from the beginning." Well, that sounds like something that those who dislike Star Trek Discovery would have said. That quote is actually from Trekkie Ruth Brissinger in a 1988 news article about Star Trek: The Next Generation, the Star Trek series that many fans to this day consider to be the best. So I respectfully disagree that what fans want ends up being the good thing in light, and I would rather better things in good storytelling, as my friend Kwapi argued that these Klingons are. But this also brings up the idea of canon, as Jessica pointed out, which is the concept that has what has come before in a series or movie, in this case Star Trek, is the end-all be-all facts of a series. Sacred text never to be trifled with ever. These Klingons don't make sense in the history of Star Trek at this point in the 23rd century. Oh no, Gene Roddenberry is rolling over in his grave. Well, Discovery's Klingons do make sense in canon, actually. Canonically, the Klingon design is inspired by the Next Generation episode Rightful Heir, Season 6, Episode 23. To the Star Trek uninitiated, Kahless was the founder and first emperor of the Klingon Empire. And according to Klingon mythology, Kahless created the sword by dropping a lock of hair, created his batleth by dropping a lock of his hair into a river of lava, and then cooling it, burning the lock in the lake of Luxor, and forging his blade. Inspired by canon, the Discovery Klingon redesign and bold look explains that this story began a tradition amongst Klingons to shave their heads during time of war and let it grow during times of peace. Hence why their hair is allowed to grow longer as the war goes on. And it actually shows that the longer their hair is, the more of a warrior they are. This Star Trek Discovery edition adds to Klingon culture and makes it deeper and richer rather than taking away from it, and draws upon established Klingon lore. And sure, there are some canonical inconsistencies, maybe here or there in Discovery, that you could argue with me, but Star Trek canon has never been consistent. Even the Klingons themselves have been redesigned several times. And as you can see in this image, the Trills used to look like that in Next Generation and this in Deep Space Nine. Clearly, the Deep Space Nine one is better, but if we had stuck by canon, we would have stuck with that nonsense mess over on the other side. Even more so, ignoring canon can improve some deeply problematic issues within the Star Trek franchise. In the Star Trek, the original series, it's firmly established that women weren't allowed to become starship captains. So much for that progressive future of Star Trek, right? Let's all be honest, as forward-thinking as the original series was, it had a lot of sexism and more than a dash of racism throughout it, as the original Klingons design showed. Canon is a tool Star Trek can draw upon, yes, and what's more important is that while there are tiny details that may shift over time, Star Trek must consistently show us a better future. And that vision of the future should change over time, because we, as the audience watching Star Trek, are changing too, and can better envision a future that better highlights what makes humanity great.
Your time, Jesse, your time is up. Thank you.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Thank you, Jesse. That was a fantastic argument. And I learned a little bit about what canon was, which I was wondering. So thank you so much. All right, Shay is going to be our next person who is presenting this evening. After this second round, we are going to do round 3, where everyone will have 45 seconds to give their rebuttals. Shay, how are you feeling tonight?
Do you know what? I'm just 10 out of 10. You know, I don't even need the 3 minutes, but I'll take it.
Okay, we're feeling confident tonight. Well, I'm feeling confident for you. Shay, your timer begins whenever you are ready.
Let's do this. Let's do this, you lipstick. Thank you. And thank you, Jesse. So just so you know, in fiction, right, canon is not the end all be all, but it is the material accepted as the official part of the story and a universe that's created. That's in fiction. In this case, the Star Trek universe, Discovery iterations of Klingon is not canon, at least not yet. And it's pretty ridiculous in the established lore and timeline. So sure, they've evolved quite a bit. You've gotten this, but each evolution has been explained within canon. So in order of timeline, all of the shows not released timeline. It goes Enterprise, Discovery, the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. The last three of which often overlap. It's kind of wild. In season 4, though, episode 15 of Star Trek Enterprise Affliction, we learn why Klingons were not portrayed with cranial ridges in the original series. Turns out, an experiment using augmented human DNA to improve Klingon DNA backfired, created a plague, killed millions off of the species, and lessened and certainly completely removed some of their cranial ridges. This explanation makes sense. 100 years later, we see them recovering as a species, represented without cranial ridges in the original series. In the middle photo there, you'll see the photo from the episode Affliction that I'm discussing, where they're, sick and they're losing it. So they make a full recovery, but Discovery is supposed to take place 10 years before the events of the first photo. 10 years. So what's with the change? What the hell happened? There's absolutely no explanation, and I don't agree with it. Even current Star Trek Discovery designers, as my colleague Jessica said, can't make up their minds. They literally said, the fans' reaction to the first season changed. That's why we saw probably their hair grow. Sure, Jesse, you mentioned in that one episode where Kalis clipped off a piece of his hair in the TNG lore. They didn't say he shaved it. We never saw Worf with a shaved head when he was in Times of War. Anyways, all I'm saying is that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Also, am I arguing that things aren't allowed to fall through the cracks? Fall through the cracks, no. An entire upheaval of a well-loved species with zero explanation? I don't know about y'all, but that feels less like falling through the cracks and more like just like diving through the bottomless pit where I assume J.J. Abrams and the Kelvin timeline also live. That's all I got, you lipstick. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know what? I still want to buzz you anyway, so I'm going to give you a little buzz. Woohoo! All right. Thank you so much. All right. Well, y'all, that was a fantastic first and second round. Now I would like to hear your rebuttals. Also, things have been popping off in the chat. So if y'all audience members have anything else to add in the chat, feel free to just blast that up because it is so fun to be able to read everyone's opinions in there. All right, we're going to do our 45-second rebuttals. Everyone is going to have an opportunity to give a rebuttal. Let me get our timer all set up. Okay, we are ready to rumble. We're going to start off with Kwapi. Kwapi, how are you feeling? Are you feeling ready to give your rebuttal?
I mean, first of all, let's not mess with JJ.
Okay, you're giving your rebuttal now.
He's gone. We don't have to worry about J.J. Abrams anymore, okay? But I'm ready to crush. Bring it.
Wait, what's that?
Who's being bringing it?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's time to start.
Okay, I thought you were ready. Okay, all right, Kwapi, your time starts now.
Okay. So Jessica spoke of there being no honor in violating the established history and design of the Klingons. But that history has always been plagued by oceans of inconsistencies in their culture and look that writers with every new incarnation of the Klingons have tried to remedy. In a franchise half a century old, inconsistency is unavoidable. And if inconsistency is unavoidable, then attempts to fix, change, or completely erase them is inevitable. Discovery did not choose to ignore the accumulated visual and cultural history of Star Trek. Rather, in this continually evolving world of science fiction in which the stories we tell and the characters we imagine helping us tell them have become more nuanced and complex. The writers chose to improve upon it where possible and completely reinvent it where needed, boldly taking us where no writers had gone before.
Amazing job, Kwapi. Thank you. Thank you so much for your rebuttal. We are going to shift on over to Jessica. Jessica, now is your time to shine. Your time starts now.
Team Wrong Discovery mentioned the Trill, and they're a fantastic example that proved Team Cannon's point that it is possible to implement a species redesign that expands the universe. The Trill appeared for the first time in the Next Generation episode, The Host. The original Trill had a distinct look with forehead lumps, but when they reappeared on Deep Space Nine, spots replaced the lumps, and we learned more about their species and culture. They're a great example of what Discovery could have done. Deep Space Nine took a species that had extremely limited screen time and amplified that short interaction into a fully fleshed out species. That is how you do a redesign, not on a species with 300 hours of screen time and an already well-established look.
Okay, fantastic job, Jessica. We are gonna just zip right on over to Jesse. Jesse, are you feeling ready to rumble?
As ready as I'll ever be after, I'm so upset with that, Jessica.
All right, Jesse, your time starts now.
All right, well, to address Jessica's point really quickly, the Klingons in Discovery have gotten a bunch of depth and development, especially in season 2, as we saw L'Rell becoming the Chancellor, the first ever female Chancellor canonically within Star Trek. And I love seeing female empowerment in my Klingons. So that's that. Also, the other thing I should say too, responding to Shay, she called out that Star Trek Enterprise, it was the canon answer to why the Klingons don't look like they do in the original series. Well, many people argued that Enterprise itself wasn't canon, and I am an Enterprise fan, but clearly, Enterprise set is before the original series, and that was supposed to be before Captain Kirk's Enterprise, but they clearly established in canon that the Kirk's Enterprise was the first Enterprise. So is Enterprise even canon, the show? Who knows? So I disregard that canon element of Shay's argument. Boom.
Boom, all done. All right, we have one more rebuttal to go, and this is a good one as well. Shay, now is your time to give your rebuttal. Your time starts now.
Well, first of all, the affliction spread really rapidly and it affected millions. And I don't care what you say, Canon, I'm seeing a lot in the chat. I'm supposed to have a certain suspension of disbelief when I watch science fiction. I have it and I'm learning and I'm integrating information as it comes along. Kirk did say that the first time humans and Klingons met, it was a war, but that could be based off of the Federation. I also love female representation and agree that the original series had mistakes, but we can build them and make them better within canon. That's all I'm saying, y'all. All right. Thank you.
Okay. I love this little timer. It's so fun. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your rebuttals. We are going to have some closing arguments from each team. Kwapi will be representing his team, and Jessica will be representing hers. We are going to give everyone 2 whole stinking minutes to give their final statements. This is where the show is going to happen, everyone. So pay close attention to these closing arguments, and then we're going to have our vote. So if you haven't been paying attention until now, pay attention now because you got to vote in a second. All right, Kwapi, you are starting us off. You have 2 minutes on the timer. Go.
Some of us Star Trek fans have always been dragged kicking and screaming into the next series, the next adventure, always finding something to complain about. Too many lens flares, Spock having a sister. We cling to our most nostalgic Star Trek moments and characters and deprive ourselves of the joy and adventure that comes with reimagining them. Moreover, we pick and choose what we gripe about, a petulant inconsistency that can sometimes cloud objectivity and deprive us of simply enjoying something familiar yet different. The way Discovery and shows are made for streaming platforms have evolved greatly from how things were done even 10 years ago. The production timelines and budgets have evolved, and in many instances allowed creators, writers, producers to dream and deliver bigger and better. I mean, we got 4-hour Snyder cuts, movie-sized budgets and more. And this has played well into Discovery's hand. Discovery's incarnation of the species has been the boldest, pun intended, and most detailed design yet, a testament to how much thought these designers and producers put into it, given the resources they had, especially when compared to their predecessors. I mean, why do we even assume that the Klingon design we're given in the Next Generation was the fully imagined look the creative designers had? Chances are what we got was simply what the budget and production calendars they had allowed them to deliver, and not the full extent of what they imagined. And to close, I'll end it with this quote from Leonard Nimoy, our most beloved Star Trek person and character who gave us Spock. Leonard Nimoy said, "Canon is only important to certain people because they have to cling to their knowledge of the minutiae. Open your mind, be a Star Trek fan, and open your mind and say, where does Star Trek want to take me now?" Thank you.
Wonderful job, Kwapi. Thank you so much for those closing statements. And now we've got Jessica, who will have 2 minutes on the timer. All right, Jessica, close us on out. Go for it, gal.
Shows that have been on the air as long as Star Trek are certain to evolve. They should evolve as times change, but they need above all to respect their own origin stories. Canon can be added to, but it should not be changed or ignored. The Discovery designers have shared their desire to make things new and different and to evolve the show, but that is just what they've failed to do. I want Star Trek to take me somewhere new. That's one of the things I love most about the show. But completely redesigning a species we've known since 1967 demonstrates neither creativity nor evolution. Star Trek's mission has been to explore strange new worlds and to seek out new life and new civilizations. So why not then evolve the series by introducing us to a new species, build something exciting and new from the ground up, explore new ideas and social structures, create something new. If you love the Klingons and want them at the table, fantastic. Design a species to rival them or flesh out a species we've only met a time or two. Discovery could have found dozens of ways to evolve the Klingons while staying true to canon and to the fans. If they still looked and acted like Klingons, they could have taken creative approaches to other elements. If they were more faithful to the Klingon physicality and appearance, they could have introduced elements such as altered skin tones and more detailed costumes. Klingons are rooted in their own religion and mythology with their own rights and codes of honor. They could have tapped into that from episode 1 to even explain the reason for shaving their heads. Instead, they had to try to fix that crack in the floor after the fact because of the fan reaction. They could have invited us to be part of this new redesign, but there is no honor in what they have done. It is a good day for this Klingon redesign to die.
Amazing. Okay, well, we have heard from everyone. We have heard their arguments, we've heard their rebuttals, and now we see them on our screen. Okay, I do have to say, I think this is the sexiest bunch of Trekkies that I've ever seen in my life. Y'all are so gorgeous, and you feel so passionate about Star Trek, which I love, and I learned something today, so thank you so much to you all. We now need to vote. The time has come for us to decide who won this debate. Is it going to be Team Discovery featuring Kwapi and Jesse, or is it going to be Team Canon featuring Jessica and Shay? I am launching the poll. Everyone, please submit your vote. Who's it gonna be?
Oh, Team Disco.
Ooh, oh my gosh, this is a nail biter.
That was creepy. Nobody wants to vote for you now.
Oh, ouch.
Okay, we're gonna do another maybe 10 seconds left to vote. If you haven't submitted your vote, do so
People
now.
vote. Wait, I haven't vote. How do I vote?
Y'all can't vote. What?
Wait, you're not
I don't
voting?
think debate club members can vote. I feel like that's a conflict of interest. All right. Okay, 5 more seconds. 5, 4. Josh's team frequency. I love that. 3, 2, 1. Okay, everyone, the results are in. Now is the time to hear. I'm going to share the results. Can I get a drum roll, please? Bam! Bam! Team Canon won. Jessica and Shay, congratulations for your amazing job tonight. Do you have any final statements to share?
No final statements. Let's move on.
I just want to say thank you for lipstick. Thank you, Jessica. I just think everyone nailed it, and I'll be back next year. Better season.
No.
But
No, this is wrong.
This has been such a whirlwind.
That poll and just have it sitting facing Kwapi's desk.
Look, I've won
I'm
this.
just gonna go watch Lower Decks.
I've won this debate in Reddit groups and Facebook groups, and how can I lose it? No, I've never. Oh,
Because
thank you,
Reddit is
Brian.
real life, right, Kwame?
I did win Brian over, and I think at the end of the day, the fact that I just moved someone closer and put reasonable doubt. Okay. You know what? You need to calm down, Jessica. Sorry,
I
Eucalyptic.
think
We're
that
gonna
is
leave.
beautiful. I'm kicking you all out. Now's my time to shine. All right, goodbye, everyone. Amazing job. Everyone type in the chat how proud you are of our debate club. Undefeated since 2021. Good for them.